Happy Three Kings Day. Today's January 6th, and it's Happy Three Kings Day. And me, growing up in the Virgin Islands, we celebrate Three Kings Day. And it's the second day to get presents. And I love that day. I love Three Kings Day. We celebrate, it's carnival time now in St. Thomas, or festival time. And the last day of festival is today. But the parade, I think the last day of the parade was yesterday or the day before. So yeah, it's so nice. We have a children's parade and adult parade. Really, really nice. If you have the opportunity to go to the Virgin Islands, to go to St. Croix in particular, during the month of December, the end of December from Christmas on, you will enjoy all those things. It's a beautiful time there. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. It is Monday, the dreaded January 6th. We won't even talk about that. And today is one of my besties' birthdays. Happy birthday, Rondi. Yes, my bestie. She's a sexagenarian also. And when she had her 60th birthday, we went on a cruise on the Royal Caribbean. And we left from Puerto Rico. And we went to St. Thomas. I was so wanting to go to St. Croix because I haven't been home in 26 years. I know, unbelievable. Just life happened. Haven't been able to take a vacation. So that's why I say thriving in 2025 is a must, because need a vacation. We all need a vacation. And my daughter and I have such big plans to go anywhere but North Carolina, and particularly Charlotte. And I'm not a hater. I've lived here for 22 years. My daughter is was four when we came here. She's not 4. Oh my God. My daughter was 4 when we moved here. So this is her home, and she loves it. But if I had my choice back in 2002, Charlotte, North Carolina would have not been my choice to move to. We moved to Charlotte from Phoenix, Arizona. I lived in Phoenix for 8 years. It's where my daughter was born. And I don't miss Phoenix either at all. There's a lot of similarities here to North Carolina, and so I'd rather be in any other state, anywhere. And I shouldn't really say that, because there are a few states that I'm like, I will not go to, I will not move to. Florida is one of them. I will not move there. And if you know, you know. I will not move to Florida or Texas. So those are 2 states that are definitely off my radar. And if I had it my way, and I was a wealthy woman, I would be moving back to New York City. I would live downtown with floor-to-ceiling windows, high-rise apartment where I could look out somewhere near 34th Street so I can see the Empire State Building out my windows. And that is where I would be. And I could bop around town like the girly pops and do whatever I want to do. Go to Macy's every day. I love Macy's on 34th Street. My absolute favorite store. When I was in college, the very first time I went to college at 18, I went to Bronx Community College, and I lived in Macy's. And I was in Macy's so much that the employees thought I worked there. So every time I would go to Macy's almost every day after school and buy something. And they're like, oh, what department do you work in? I'm like, I don't work here. I'm a customer. They're like, oh, you're in here a lot. And I spent a lot of money in there too, which my dear sainted mother can attest to, because she got those bills. So yeah, that was my brat era, I guess, so to speak. But anyway, it was fun times. I love New York City. I'm a New York girl at heart. I love New York City. And in my first video back, I stated that I lived in the Virgin Islands on St. Croix from the age of 6 until the age of 30. Well, in between that time, when I was a teenager, from the age of 13 to the age of 17, well, almost 17, to the age of 16, I lived in Chicago. My older sister lives in Chicago, and my mother thought that I needed a change from St. Croix, being on a small island, that I needed to have a little bit more experience. So she wanted me to move back to the States. And at the time, with my relatives and everything who all lived in New York wasn't the answer, because it was like, well, nobody wanted me, and it had nothing to do with being an unruly child or a bad teenager. It's just my mom wanted me to have other experiences. I was never any trouble ever as a child, a teenager, anything. That just was not my deal. I was always very, very congenial, always. I always have been. And so anyway, my sister said, oh, why don't you send Alexis here? And so that's where I ended up going for 4 years. So I was there for 8th grade, 9th, 10th, and 11th. But I did go back home to St. Croix in my senior year and graduated. And I was so happy about that. I met some of the most beautiful people in Chicago at my school. I went to Kenwood Academy, shout out. And I am still friends with those people today. And we have been out of school for 42 years. We graduated in 1982. And I love those people. They will always be my friends forever and ever and ever. And it was a good and not a good experience. And that's a story time for a whole other video. That's like a whole other Oprah show, as they say. And we will get into that down the line. Also, I forgot to say, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Alexis, but my friends call me Lexi. I'm a 60-year-old in my sexagenarian era here on YouTube, just talking about different things for right now. My channel will evolve eventually to do other things, but right now, this is where I'm comfortable. So we're just gonna have chit chats. And if there's anything you all want us to chit chat about, you can send me a little note in the comments. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I would just truly appreciate it. So yeah, I lived in Chicago for a while. I've lived in the Virgin Islands. I was born in New York. I've lived in Arizona. And I've lived here. The longest, I think, is here, pretty much. Well, similar. St. Croix and North Carolina have been the longest places that I've lived. And my mother, when she was alive, one of her family friends encouraged her to come here. And I should say our family friends encouraged her to come, and she was excited about it. She wanted to come back this way because Phoenix, we were far away from everyone, and all of her relatives that were still alive and friends and everything were in New York. And she didn't want to do the hustle and bustle of New York because we had a car. It's hard to drive in New York. You can. There are millions of people that do it every day. But to live somewhere, be able to park, not have to get up in the morning, move your car to the other side of the street, and all that kind of rigmarole. And she wanted to have her creature comforts. She wanted to have a dishwasher, and she wanted to have a laundry room and all of that, which now, those things in New York, of course, are standard. But the rents in New York now are oblivious. I mean, through the roof. And she's like, you know what, let's move. When this person recommended that, we come here because they lived here. And some other family friends lived here too. And they're like, you need to come here. My mother's name was Jewel. And like I told you all in my first video, my mother was the only girl with 5 brothers. So her name was Jewel because she was a jewel. And she truly was. And so she's like, okay. So, you know, we, like I said in my first video, are a nuclear family, the three of us, my daughter, my mother, and myself. So what was I going to do? Not come? Of course I had to come. I had to bring her here. I drove here from Arizona, from Phoenix. Took us 4 days because I was the only one driving. My mother could drive. My mother was a driving instructor, and my mother taught me how to drive. Fun fact, I learned how to drive in the Virgin Islands, and we drive on the left there, and that is where I got my license when I was 17, and I passed it on the first try. Most of my friends took them 2, sometimes 3 tries, and I passed it on the first try. Yeah, because my mother took me driving every single day. She took me to the lagoon, which is a beach area on St. Croix, Christiansted, and she took me there and took 2 bar stools and put them out and taught me how to parallel park over and over and over and over. How to back in on the left, how to back in on the right, and we just did that over and over and over and over and over. The parking spot where they taught you, where you did your road test, they had this big, huge parallel parking spot. I don't know if they still do that now because I was 17. I'm 60 now. So I took a test when we moved to Phoenix. I didn't take a road test. I took a written test. And I don't know if this is still true in Phoenix. If anybody's watching this video from Arizona, you can let me know. But back then, your license was 24 years. You had a 24-year license. I couldn't believe it. My license would have expired. Let's see, we moved here in 2002. I think my license would have expired actually last year, 2024, I believe. And when we moved here, I took the written test and I passed it the first time. And I think it was a 7-year license or something like that, or a 5-year. I can't remember. I think now the license I have is a 7-year, and I think it's up in another year maybe for renewal from since I renewed my license. But anyway, I'm losing my train of thought. But so my mother, you know, was an excellent teacher. So growing up in the Virgin Islands and driving on the left, that really prepares you for driving anywhere in the world, especially in New York City. I was a good driver in New York City. I loved driving in New York. Whenever I would go during the summers or anything, my aunt would always rent a car for my cousins and I to go somewhere and or to drive, you know, out to the country or upstate or do different things. I love that. I love driving in New York. But moving to New York and having a car, no, unless I lived way out somewhere where I had a house with a garage and I didn't have to drive into Manhattan, I would never have a car there. You don't need it. There's Ubers, there's taxis, there's the subway, and there are buses. And you can walk. It's a walkable town, and I love that. I love that. Even though I don't do that kind of walking anymore, I'm on disability. I've been on disability for the last 6 years, Social Security disability, and I have degenerative bone disease in my back, and I have osteoarthritis in my knees, and I walk with a cane. So it is very, very, very hard for me to just go out and walk somewhere. I don't feel like Charlotte is a walkable town like that. There are a lot of places that don't have sidewalks, and the people here just drive ridiculous to me. And I know everybody's like, oh, ridiculous, it's Charlotte. Yeah, it's not aggressive driving like New York or anything like that. It's just like dumb driving, I think, sometimes. Like, and I hate to say that because I live here and I've lived here for 22 years, a big chunk of my life. But I think a lot of people here just don't know how to drive, period. They don't know how to drive in the rain. They don't know how to drive in the snow. If it snows here, if we get a dusting of snow here, everything shuts down. And I mean everything. No school, no work, no nothing. You know, you just don't, because we don't have the street cleaners like that. We don't have the equipment to clean or do anything here in Charlotte. And so this way, you know, they're like, well, you could just stay home. You know, stay home. It was fine for me. I loved it when my daughter had a snow day. We would pray at night for snow days. And this school district here in Charlotte would wait till the last minute when my daughter was in school, the last minute to make up their mind as to whether there would be school or not. And I hated that so much because I'm like, let it not have school. Then I wasn't going to work either. I worked on a hill, and it was I don't know if it was concrete. I don't think it was asphalt to get up to the building where I worked in. So we get a lot of ice storms here, and you cannot drive. Oh, it's scary and treacherous. So yeah, no. So I love that. Loved it. Snow days, bring them on. So yeah, so that was a fun fact about St. Croix and learning to drive on the left. But yeah, if I had it my way, I would live in New York City. That would be the city that I would choose. My daughter would like to live in Los Angeles, and I would love that too. We love California. Well, she was there in utero when I was first pregnant with her. And she's like, that doesn't count, Mom, I wasn't there. I'm like, but you were there. You were there. I love San Francisco. I love California. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. And I would move to California. I would like to be in Venice, maybe, or Santa Monica, near the Santa Monica Pier area, and where there's beaches and stuff. That's where I would like to be. If I could reside anywhere and I had the money to move this minute, like when I shut off this video, I would be headed to Santa Monica. I want to be near the pier, near the beach, near all of that, in the Venice area. I think I would like that. I think that would suit me, and be able to go to Los Angeles. One of my best friends lives in California. She lives in the suburb of LA, and I would love to just be there and be with her and her mother like every day. I would just love that. I would just love that. I really, really would. So yeah, I know this video has no rhyme or reason to it. I'm just chit-chatting because these are my first videos, and I'm just trying it out, and I hope you all enjoy the videos and just listening to what I have to say, and put in some comments if there's something that you want me to talk about, of where I've lived or what I've done or anything. Being a 60-year-old, I would love to make that kind of video. I would enjoy it. I am, like I said yesterday, I am a Leo. My birthday's in August, and I have my little lion pendant here. I bought this pendant when I lived in New York going to college. After college, my very first, not first job, because I had my very first real job on St. Croix. I was a messenger for a lawyer. But when I moved to New York, my very first job there was my cousin's best friend was a manager at a company. And so they hired me, and I worked as a file clerk. And that was one of my first jobs. And I loved that job. I just loved being there, period. I worked at 101 Park Avenue, right next to Grand Central Station. I just loved it over there. The vibes. That building is in a lot of movies, so I'm sure you've seen it. Brewster's Millions. There's a few movies that they film, and every time they go, the facade is 101 Park Avenue. The building just says 101, but that was the building that I worked in. And I loved that building. We worked on, I think, the 20th floor, the 20-something floor. I loved it. I loved going in there every day, and it was dreamy, and I loved it. And where Grand Central, the building there is now, I think, called the MetLife building, but it was the Pan Am building back then. So yeah, that was a long time ago. Long, long time ago. And we just had so much fun going to happy hours and everything. I just loved it. I really loved it. So yeah. Okay, so yeah, going to happy hours. I was in my teens then, and I worked, I think, at the company that I worked for at 101 Park. I think I started working there when I was 19, and I worked there, I think, until I was like 20. or 21 maybe. And then I left. I was a file clerk, and then I became a receptionist. And then I left there and I went and worked at Ernst & Winnie, which is now I think Ernst & Young, I think, but I worked at Ernst & Winnie. I was an operator there, and I loved that job too. That was a good place to work. And I learned a lot there. I worked for the international department. I worked for I worked as an operator and phone operator. So yeah, I enjoyed that. Those were some of my first, real jobs, corporate jobs in New York City. So that was a big deal. And I really, really, really enjoyed that time in my life. And I've had so many jobs. My God, this could be a job video. I've had so many, multitudes of jobs. I've had so many, you name it, I probably have done it. Except for sales. I am not a salesperson. I don't like to sell anything. And so I have never had a sales job. I always wanted to work at a grocery store, work at the checkout. The girls always had their little nails done, and they would be doing the cash register and pulling your groceries across the conveyor belt, and then they would be chewing their gum. I just thought that was the most fabulous thing ever, and never had that job. And I wanted to there were a few things. Work at fast food restaurant. I've never done that. I've always had an office sit-down job. From my first job at 17 in the Virgin Islands at the law firm, all the way until my last job, which I was an accounts payable manager and an office manager. And I said that in the first video. And I was at that job for 8 years, and that was the last job that I did. And, but yeah, I loved it. And now I love not working. Most people are like, oh, I have to do something every day. No, I don't. 2025 is going to be the year of slow mornings. I mean, I don't have many slow mornings because my daughter does work, and I do drive her. She doesn't have a license at this time, and so yet, and so I drive her, and it gets me out of the house, and I love doing it. And she doesn't have to be into work usually most days until 10 a.m. Sometimes she goes in early on occasion. Some days she doesn't go until 4. So it allows me to have slow mornings. I don't have to get up at 4, 5, and 6 a.m. Although I do like to do that to get my steps in and to journal and to read the Bible and read a book. And I started doing that in 2024. And I did it probably for maybe a month or so. And then I just kind of stopped getting up early. But I would like to get back to that in 2025. As all the little videos are. My 5 a.m. morning routine and all that. I won't be doing any of those. No, I won't be doing those. But I do like that time because it's so serene and peaceful and quiet before the world starts going, before the hustle and bustle of people and noise and everything. Like, we live on the second floor and we have loud neighbors. So, the up and down, I mean, you would think that a herd of elephants was coming up and down the stairs every time they come up and down. And so I like it early in the morning because you don't hear any of that, and it's very peaceful. And when it's still dark outside, I do like it. I sit here in my recliner. I put this blanket here over me, and I recline, and I read my Bible, do a couple of Bible verses, and then I read a book for a little bit. And then usually I start doing my exercise. I may do a meditation video. I like Boho Beautiful on YouTube. I love her videos. And so sometimes I'll do a meditation with her, and then I'll do my exercise. And there's a multiple amount of people on YouTube. I watch YouTube most of the day. I got tired of regular TV, and we stream most of the time. And I have HBO Max free because I got it with my phone service. But I do watch that. I love Discovery Plus. That's probably my most popular streaming. Hulu, we have a few. Disney Plus. I don't have Paramount. I have Netflix. Paramount or Peacock I don't have, which I would like to get those. There's just so many things. I have the Friendly app. I wonder if any of you all are familiar with that. FRNDLY. And it has a lot of channels on there. All the Hallmark stations are on there. LMN, Lifetime, let's see, Great American. There are a lot of stations on there. MeTV, QVC, lots of things. I watch a lot of QVC. That's something that you don't hear. Well, you know, I am 60. I'm on a weight loss journey. If I didn't mention that earlier, I think I did mention that in my last video. I'm on a weight loss journey, and I have lost so far like 97 pounds. I'm close to 100 pounds weight loss, and I weighed over 300 pounds. And now I'm still in the 200s right now. And so my goal is to really get into the teens by the end of this month. And that would put me past 100-pound weight loss. And then I will work, my next goal will be to get into Wonderland and be under 200 pounds. So that's my next goal. So I don't shop right now because I'm in flux. You know, I have a lot of clothes that I did a weight loss of 85 pounds back before the pandemonium happened. And so when the pandemonium happened, I was baking banana bread every day and eating everything that wasn't nailed down. So I gained a lot of it back. So now I'm back on track. And so I had a lot of clothes from when I first lost the weight that I couldn't get into anymore. So now I can get into those clothes again. And so I wear a lot of leggings and sneakers. I cannot wear regular shoes anymore. I wear sneakers. If I can find some nice flats that have like a little support arch or something, I can. But I've never worn heels. Every time I wear heels, I would slip and fall. So I don't wear heels at all. I love them. I love the way they look. I love the platforms, but it's not for me. I can't even wear the platform Uggs. I feel like I'm gonna fall. So yeah, certain shoes just make me feel that way, and I can trip. I am a fall risk. So like I stated before, I fell in my last video because of our new kitten. So yeah, so shopping QVC is like it for me. All the girls are, you know, Aritzia and Lulu, Abercrombie, which I will never ever shop at. Even if I could, the CEO, founder, whatever, you know, he was arrested for human trafficking and molesting all the male models way back in the day. I would never give them a dime of my money. But I guess that doesn't bother the young people. You know, they don't cancel people like that. I'm old school. If you do something wrong to somebody, I'm not going to patronize you, period. I never will. I'm not. So Abercrombie will not be a store that I will be going to when I'm thin. But I will be going to some of the others. Aritzia, Anthropologie. We have some of those stores here in Charlotte. So H&M, stores like that. So I can't wait. I'm looking forward to shopping and getting new clothes. So right now, I do a lot of shopping on QVC, not really for clothes per se, but just for things. And this year, this past Christmas, we got a lot of little things, and I got them all from QVC. And I know everybody's like, well, you shouldn't pay as you go. If you have the money, you should buy everything outright, but it helps. And we never have Christmases anymore. We have it. My daughter works hard, and all my money goes to keeping a roof over our head. So, you know, at some point you want things. You want to enjoy yourself. You want to have something. You know, you just don't want to be here in the doldrums and say, oh, woe is me, I never get anything. So this year we did get a few little things. And I love QVC and all the things that the girly pops use and everything. it's so much cheaper on QVC. I'm like, y'all need to shop at QVC. I love QVC. So I watch a lot of that on YouTube, on the live, go to live, and QVC. It's on all day in my house, in the background while I'm doing other things. I love QVC. My TV is on QVC 24 hours a day sometimes. And YouTube. We watch a lot of YouTube content and watched a lot of content so that we can start, doing our channels, my daughter and I. She has started a channel and she's doing really good. And we just want to build momentum. We want to get the views. We want to get the subscribers. And it's not as easy as everybody makes it seem. And for me being 60, I watch a lot of the older YouTubers. Anybody who's in their 40s. I watch all the little girly pops too. I love so many. Sydney Adams King, Danielle Carolyn. I love so many of them. Adriana Greaves. The list goes on and on. Lucia Carteru, I'm sorry. There's so many that I love, but Rihanna Janice, we love her, and Cambria Joy. The list just goes on and on. But I do watch a lot of YouTubers who are in my age demographic, and anywhere from those who are in their 40s all the way up to some people in their 80s I've watched. And their channels are so successful, and that's what made me really say, last year I was like, oh, we should do YouTube, but we had really old phones, no money for equipment or anything. Right now, we're using our iPhone 16 Pro Maxes to do videos until we can get cameras and such. We're novices at this. My daughter picks up everything like that. She's fast with it. I'm not anymore. I'm very smart, but some things I just am like, yeah, okay, I don't get it. And so the editing process for me is extremely difficult. The music is extremely difficult. And I want everything to look like everybody else's video, but that's not gonna happen. My videos are just gonna be authentic on the real videos. Like, you're not gonna get a beautiful kitchen because we don't have that. You may see a bug crawling up my wall, and there are no apologies here for that. It is what it is. This is me, raw, in the raw. So you won't get any of that here, and at least not now. Hopefully soon we'll be moving someplace this year, and we'll be able to, have a more aesthetic filming area when we're doing indoor filming. But right now we don't have that. And so we just film with what we have. We have tripods, and we got a couple of lights and things. They're not the best. They're not the things that we want to have. We want the DJI. There's a lot of things that we want. So we're trying to work towards that. And hopefully this is the start to that, to us being monetized and getting our AdSense in, getting some money in so we can upgrade, and do really well. We want followers, we want subscribers. That's the main thing. And that's why I'm here. I feel like I have a voice. I have things to talk about, so many things to talk about. And, but really, I just, want to be successful here. So on that note, I would appreciate it if you give this video a like and comment below anything you want us to chit chat about, and also subscribe. That would just be amazing. It doesn't cost anything to do it, and we could be besties because these are my first videos. You will be a real one from day one if you subscribe now, and I think that'll be amazing. I'm hoping that way down the line we'll have PR, and we'll have some of the things that I like and the products that I like, and we'll be able to have giveaways and things like that. So I'm really, really looking forward to see where this YouTube is going to take us. I'm really excited about it. So on that note, I want to say thank you so much for giving me your time, for watching and hanging in with this 60-year-old lady just chatting about all kinds of stuff that's really about nothing, but just having fun. That's all we're doing here. This is purely entertainment, for entertainment purposes. And I just want to say, if nobody has said this to you, I love you plenty. Have a great, great day, evening, morning, whenever you're watching this. Peace.